Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Manga Monday. Hot off the presses this week. Me and my man, Luke Hollywood. What up, Luke?
Oh, what up, Jim?
What up? What up is this new book, Super Smartphone, it's called. I mean, even the name makes you roll your eyes, right?
Not so super.
No, not so. But when we get into it, obviously, we'll be talking about what we think about it, but that'll be in a second. I don't think this is going to be too long a show here, but before all of that, go over to Twitter and follow us at Weird Manga. Follow us, we'll follow you back. That's 100% follow back policy, and things are picking up over there. And maybe it's because we have started our manga reading clubs. If you're not aware of that, if you're just showing up to this hot off the presses super smartphone, then you can say, "Oh, what are these reading clubs you talk about?"
My goodness,
my man, and I'll tell you what they are. Each day of the week, besides Monday, Monday's Manga Monday, we have a book that is featured in our reading clubs. They just started, so you'll be getting in on the ground floor. The schedule is Tuesday, My Hero Academia. Wednesday, we have Demon Slayer. Thursday, Jujutsu Kaisen. Friday, Chainsaw Man. Saturday, Death Note, which we'll be talking about a bit today because that smartphone thing sounds a lot like it. And Sunday, the Dragon Balls. So we end up having all those as we go each week on those days. You get another chapter. We hope everybody follows along. And it seems like most of them, there's a shocker that I thought was going to be a lot more popular, but we won't even go unexpected. But right now, just to throw it out there, Jujutsu Kaisen is ruling the roost.
Wowie.
So if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, hey, maybe you check it out on the Thursday. But if you want to get the stats better for the others because it's a contest, you go listen to those.
Listen to them all. Hit all them downloads.
Every single one of them. But with all of that, you could get early access to the Reading Club podcast, all of them, and also get early access to 10 episodes of this Manga Monday show over on our Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Science Manga, where you can help support us for all these shows that we're doing that people have said that we're crazy to have a show each day of the week.
Crazy insane.
We're crazy like a fox, crazy like a smartphone.
Whoa.
Is what I say, which is the segue into what, Luke?
This is this master of all segues into the hot off the presses title, Super Smartphone, first published in the Weekly Shonen Jumps, issue 23. Back at it again after that Golden Week break. And boy, they came back swinging with this one. Oh boy. And of course, launching on the same day on the Shonen Jump app and the Manga
You have
Plus.
stolen my dreams.
The best deal in comics.
Yeah, so everybody, you could go over right now and read this first chapter along with us, which most of, again, we talk about that with the Reading Club deal. But actually, most of the things that we talk about on the show here, the Manga Monday show, are available on one of the apps. We usually end up having the Manga Plus being the big one, but we do a lot of the Shonen Jump stuff as it comes out. I can't keep track of the Kodansha stuff of when it's new and whatnot. Plus, they like to play that game of like 90-page first chapters.
No way. If it's over 60, we ain't interested.
What do they think I am? Now, speaking of that, the super smartphone, U19? I'm just saying. I don't know. I already saw people. Some people are already calling for it to get axed. That is bad after a first chapter. And we don't want to be negative fully about it. But I'll tell you right now, this is not very exciting. And if they don't pick this up, if they don't pick up the pace next chapter into the third chapter, you're going to have some problems. But give us the stats. All those stats on.
Oh, so much. So the story was written by the Hiroki Tomisawa, who it appears that they are this is their first time at the bat. This is their, first time in the big leagues. I mean, you can kind of see it a little, not to throw too much shade. Oh boy.
How dare you?
Gee, unsolicited. But we also have art by Kentaro Hidano, who has appeared on multiple one-shots, apparently, before this on the Jump Pluses in Japan. Not that we've seen any of it, but I will say I do like the art. And
that's okay.
And not to be too disparaging, I think the art is pretty nifty so far, even if it is just a lot of talking heads.
It's a lot of talking heads. It really is. There's a lot of dialogue in this. Is that it?
That's it. A lot of sleepy dialogue.
No stage plays.
No stage plays.
People are just walking around playing with their cell phones. So when you get into this, I'm already at a point where with a lot of comics, even in the West, not so much the manga, but the comics itself, having a lot of the villains with these apps, and this isn't quite like that.
No.
What this is, it's very Death Note-esque. What you have here is you're introduced to a kid, super smart kid, right? Q, he goes by, and he's bored. Oh my goodness. And if you are a Death Note fan, this will be very familiar. It sounds a lot like Light.
Indeed.
Now, in that, you have the Shinigamis coming in. You end up having that stuff. In this, you have a smartphone show up that seems sentient, but isn't, but is, but can answer questions, but doesn't. And all of this wraps up into a deal where I don't really get the pull. I don't get the hooks are not in me as I go through this.
Hook, line, and no sinker.
Hook, line, and stinker
is
what it might be. I mean, seriously. But you're introduced to this kid Q, and he's very generic. I mean,
Indeed.
This is the problem. This is a very by-the-numbers
basic.
Cobble things together from some other popular things, very basic, but it doesn't have a spark. It doesn't have a uniqueness in my mind that it could get.
The most unique thing so far is if you look at that color page and you see all that crazy dudes behind, like the guy with the red hair, and I want to know what's going on there more than anything that actually happens in your opening chapter. And that's the problem
is in that you're guessing. I mean, though, they end up having phones in that color page. Now that I'm looking at it, you end up, are those the goo phones?
Are those the goo gals?
This idea that you throw into this point system, that might be but you'd never know what that is. It just almost at this point seems like that's what you use to unlock things, but nothing's ever played out. And with that, I'll tell you, this actually reminds me of Solo Leveling a little. It does be with those points it does remind me a hell of a lot of the Death Note, pardon my French here, but it also just reminds me of all the other things I'd rather be reading besides it, Luke. And it really is just kind of very generic. So when I looked at the quotes and the comments in the Manga Plus, that's why we love the Manga Plus. When you go on the app especially, you make your comments and things like that. We haven't talked about it much lately because we haven't had the weekly show, but we love the comments. When I looked at most of the comments, you have the ups and downs. You're going to have this should get an axe, all right, the first chapter, or you'll have this is the greatest thing ever. But a lot of what I saw was what I think me and you agree with is it needs something to go on here because it's not anything special, but if it could take a dark turn, maybe that would be a pretty cool deal.
Like the foundations aren't too bad, but it needs a bit of spice. It needs a bit of panache.
Yeah, so what you end up again? You end up starting out with this kid Q, very smart, he's bored. I kind of like the concept that they have here is that because he could get 100 on any test, he's not challenged. So he's bored. So what he does is he tries to do the test in a way that he always gets a 60.
Ride the line.
It's a weird concept. The idea where he says, though, that it's a contest to him because if he answers one question wrong, he only answers a couple questions to equal 60, but he has to make sure he gets those right. It's just a goofy little thing. But with that, you end up being introduced to his childhood friend, Yuika, and she's not that interesting.
She's just basically telling him, you better take them tests seriously, because I remember your traumatic past.
Exactly. She's like, I know you're smart and could get 100, but you get the 60s. You better start studying. It all started when your brother disappeared.
Oh, no.
Flashback time. And we go to this. But with that, I didn't even get the deal where at one point I thought, she doesn't really like him anymore. She actually says when she's like thinking back, I remember that day that his brother she says, that's when we all got along. That's when I does she just hate him now? Are they not friends? He likes to sleep. That's about the best thing we found out. She doesn't like
the slackers.
She doesn't like the slackers. And I guess she's pissed because he can slack like that because he's so smart. At points, he goes, yeah, and he falls asleep in class.
And starts drooling. That's pretty disgusting.
Then he says at one point, I'm going to go to the park and fall asleep during class. I don't get it. Call me when you got no class, is what I say to this kid. So you end up going back in a flashback to see how he had this little brother, and Q's little brother, Shu, he's a cutie.
Cute as a bun.
5 years old, kind of a little dumb, might be, dumb as a box of rocks. Hey there. He basically is, and I should have it set up. I really should have. He is basically the personification of, look at all those chickens, girl.
Look at all those chickens.
He's like, look, big bro, an acorn. Nope, it's a pine cone. Hey,
look at all them
bro,
swings.
Look at this, swings. I mean, that's the worst. No, that's a slide. Look, the moon. No, that's the sun. Don't look into it, right?
This kid needs help.
He ends up where I need to poop. They're playing hide and go seek, and Yuika
forever
seeking, and nobody ever found poor Shu. He ended up going into this. I mean, bathrooms at parks are always sus. They are. They're always dirty. They always weird me out.
No
and
way.
If I ever go into one of those and somebody else is in, they're going to be by themselves because I'm leaving. And I'm going to the next tree or something behind them.
Always broken. I'm telling you.
Oh,
problems.
Yeah. Always bad. Holes in there with little messages I don't understand.
Phone numbers that you don't want to ring. I'm telling you.
And some hobo that seems to be trying to tell me that he's selling cologne, but it's really just like old stream water. Also, he's got no pants on. I mean, a lot of stuff goes on in those.
Not good.
Again, maybe that's the interesting part. But you end up where his Shu disappears. He's gone. It makes me sad, right? And that's the thing. Thinking of a kidnapping, it's already like I'm not interested so much, but now I'm just sad. I'm like, well, what are we doing here? But it's not sad enough.
No, because you hardly knew ye. He asked the dumb questions, he goes potty, and then he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. And you see in a nice little deal where he like disappears like a ghost. I'm like, all right, it's Ghost Kid.
Ghost Detective.
Ghost Shu. He's there. Am I a No, you're a ghost. See, he never gets it right. Oh my, it's very hot and flamey here in heaven. Yeah, you're not in heaven, Shu. I don't know why he's in hell.
Too many dumb questions.
He's in hell for being annoying. Now you end up where maybe he'll come back. The devil's like, I had enough of this kid.
Yeah,
he has too many questions. They do say hell is for children. I think that was a song by Pat Benatar. Old people's music.
Music.
You end up at one point then where he is so mad, our Q, who's very smart, and then he says, man, I thought science could solve everything. I thought 1 + 1 = I'm getting married. I don't know. He thinks that all these things will work out. So with that, he realizes, no, they can't find one little kid. Now, if he looks at it the other way, you can't find one little kid. I mean, it's kind of obvious why you couldn't.
Burn all them textbooks.
Yeah, so he burns all his textbooks.
Smart people don't usually do that, Uh-oh.
I mean, all of a sudden, it's a book burning going on. I'm like,
Harry Potter.
Goodness gracious.
What?
He's like, we can't even find one child as it looks like he might catch on fire. You can't lean over the burn barrel.
Oh, jeez.
Shu. Maybe Shu wasn't the dumbest one. You have Yuika talking about this, saying, well, that was pretty bad, but I where do you get a connection that you've seen of, that's when he became the bad boy? Or that's what, no, he's just bored now.
That's when he started sleeping in class.
Yeah, that's why he sleeps a lot. That's where he's a Viking. You end up where he's like, and then all of a sudden there's a news report. Oh, geez, there's a missing kid. Oh, that sucks. And I'm sure that this would be a thing. And thank God. And I hope that nobody listening ever had to go through or ever will have to go through a child being missing. Just the other day, Tanya ended up. And Tanya, we have about 5 to 10 false alarms every 2 days. Tanya is running scared and has all these problems. She went to pick up Logan at the YMCA. He was working out and swimming. And she went in for 2 seconds, couldn't find him, freaked out, was about to call the police, called me. All I did was call Logan's phone. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, you better find Mom. She's losing it. And she gets these ideas. But it would be awful if you had something like that happen. And then every time a kidnapping would come up, you'd be reminded of it. So you end up having a kidnapping. But in the meantime, and this is a girl in the present, but in the meantime, you end up having Q open up his book bag and he finds this little device. And it's weird. It reminds me for some reason of the Dreamcast VMU little saved. I don't know that anybody remembers it.
It looks like a memory card.
That's why it looked, and it looks like even a PlayStation 1 memory card. But why I say that VMU deal on the Dreamcast is because you could actually had a LCD screen. You could play little mini games and get some points. But he sees this and he goes, "Oh, what is this? This looks like a toy smartphone. Oh my goodness!" It turns on. Confirm owner. It says, "Hello, Mr. Caillou Sagarada," which is Q's name.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out it's not the Google phone. They keep mentioning, "Oh man, it looks like a Google phone," but it's not a Google phone. It's the Goo phone.
The Goo Goose.
Now I just think they're messing with us. I think all this was to set up me and you talking on a podcast saying "goo goo goo goo."
Maybe we are the big dummies.
Look at you, the babies.
Oh jeez, they got us.
You want a binky? Goo goo gaga.
They got us in Japan.
With the goo 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 goo. It comes on, and then you end up having Q like, man, this is a total Google ripoff. Now, if you're gonna play this game, I don't know why you even bring up Google. You don't have to. A lot of times in comics and things like that, you'll have like the Q phone or the View tubes and stuff. But this just ends up making me think like, okay, it's not Google, it's worse. Like it's the worst name ever. And he's like, man, what a ripoff. Oh man, this is the worst. And then I am not a knockoff.
Beep,
That's what the phone says. The phone starts talking, right? We merely share a resemblance. And I'm already starting like, what is this? Like, what's going on?
Strap yourself in for a lot of speech bubbles.
Later, it answers questions and weird questions. Any question that you can go with limits. But the idea where it's already arguing with them at the beginning, but then it's a step back, I just don't think that when you read it's going to remind you of Death Note. You can't escape it. But when me and Jason, which we have our Death Note reading club, when we talk about Death Note, we're always amazed at the creators. They're one step ahead of you reading it to give you rules that you didn't think of. But then when they give it to you, it makes complete sense. You're like, holy crap, how did they come up with that? Like, they must really brainstorm. Even Jason, I think one of the last episodes that we did, he was talking about he'd like to be in the room where they're throwing like, hey, what if this happens? And they come up with the rules, but it's really well thought out. This just seems like it's like, let's go. Talking phone, answer questions. We'll figure out the rest of the stuff later.
The whole thing with Death Note, you have that Ryuk and the personality clash with Light, and that's what makes it interesting. You're getting all the rules, but you're having some fun while you're learning it. This is just like a textbook. This is the rules. Read it.
I'll give you another little thing. Death Note, you write a name and then somebody dies.
Well, there's some stakes. Oh my, raise the stakes.
And even then, when you first have Light in that, and I don't want to make this into a Death Note show, but when Light first goes into it, you're wondering if it's real. And I even said when we talked about that first, like, I would be an idiot and say, oh, this isn't real, write my mom's name in it, and then she dies, and then, then I'm happy. But you end up where, like, there are stakes, and you start to get nervous. There's tension to it, and especially while you see, this is, hey, where'd I lose my dollar? What's the tension?
Let's find all the pennies in the land.
Even when you get to the point where he decides he's going to use it to find this girl who's kidnapped, it is a long, boring, arduous journey to something that we really, I hate to say we don't care about, but we hardly knew ye.
That's like step 50, when that should be step 2. Immediately when you see this, you're thinking two things. You're thinking he's going to find that girl, and then he's going to find his brother. But we get like the rule book, we get Dear Diary, we get Americans visited the aliens, we get the money trip, and we're like, all of this is so unnecessary. Just like for him to realize, for Q to realize, oh, this is a super smartphone, really cool, and none of it is necessary.
No. Smartphone, indeed. You have this talking smartphone, and it takes so long for him to be convinced.
Any explanation takes ages.
Again, Death Note, you write it in, somebody dies, holy crap, let's do this again, make sure, boom, it's real. Oh my, and also, you have a Shinigami hanging over you, right? Yeah. And but with this, it's, okay, well, if you're real, did the U.S. really contact aliens? Beep, boop, boop. Yes, they did.
Well, that could be fake.
Here's a document. That could be, really? Come on now.
When he gets the diary, He gets the Dear Diary, and that was something he wrote down. And that diary is sus, by the way. If we go into detail,
right?
Like once he sees that printed, and then he sees it on his phone, on the magic phone, very tiny magic phone, that should be crystal clear.
And look at him, where the smile, but I have no connection. Even look, he at one point he's like half asleep, then he's smiling.
Just like me.
There's no connection to the character. And you get annoyed with them because, again, you go, hey, aliens, U.S., yes, here's a confidential document. I don't believe it.
Beep,
all right, well, what do we have next? Well, what did I write in my journal, yesterday on Friday? Oh, here it is. I wish you did have. I wish that it was sassy smartphone.
There's none of the charm.
That's what I mean. And now that I say, now I really want, like, oh, hey, what did I write in my journal the other day? Well, it was a little sus.
Sus meter detected.
You should not be going anonymous on your teacher's social media accounts. Like, have that. Like, do something with it. Have this deal where, I don't know, then you start to think, and you even said, if you had something going on where all of a sudden we got, Poltergeist, Ghost Brother in the phone, now we got something. But, there's no personality. There's nothing. And I guess we're having fun talking about it. I'm having a ball.
Like, if we go back to Death Note again, like, not even, you remember with Light, he was a straight up jerk, but at least that was something. This dude has nothing.
Yeah, you ended up where, in some things, like a Death Note again, but you ended up, you keep reading, because you kind of, in the back of your mind, you're hoping that something happens to him. And you're hoping, like, at first, it's a well-made deal. And this, I'm like, what do I care? At the end of this, it's just this kid with a stupid goo-goo gaga phone, and he's trying to gather points up, which we really don't know what they mean.
No.
And so with that, he says, hey, what's my journal entry? At this point, he still thinks he's being punked by Ashton Kutcher, who's going to jump out of somewhere out of the closet.
He thinks his pal is recorded in the phone, which seems like it's more complicated than the smartphone itself.
He says, she put this fake smartphone in my bag and then is using a microphone to talk through it, and then also bringing up pages on the internet.
I don't think she likes you that much, buddy. Jeez.
Did we ever get any connection that she's this big prankster? She wants to do this? No,
we
didn't, because she was just in and out. So when he gets this, and here's the the best part of the whole deal. It's his journal entry, and even this is not really anything good. It's 4:15 Friday yesterday to kill some time. And when I saw kill, I'm like, holy crap!
Here we go.
I thought he was a serial killer. I'm like, oh my god!
Who's called some?
I got excited.
Time.
Yeah, I mean, who is he killing this sometime? I ended up where I was actually kind of like pick me up. To kill some time, I poked around some of my teachers' private social media accounts, and I liked or commented positively on their posts. I quickly saw the results of doing so during today's class. First, Miss Endo, my English teacher, was in a really good mood. You know what this reminds me of? And just as an aside, because we like it, but it does remind me, it reminds me of these manga comments, the mangakas each week, when they're like, today I decided that I like the raindrops on my head, but I don't like getting wet. Like,
good to know.
It's just nonsense. So you end up, is this supposed to be character work to show you that he's a good kid?
Is this good? I don't know.
He says that he wanted to get them in a good mood. Now, with
Still a bit sus.
why do we care? This phone gives you info. This phone doesn't kill people. This phone doesn't. Now, again, you could say, like, what are you going to say? Ooh, no, what's Luke's Hollywood's favorite snack? Oh, he likes the ding-dongs, and then I get you everything but ding-dongs, because I hate your guts. Like, what is he going to do?
Busted.
You end up, when you get the rules, even, I'm like, really? Now you're going to give us rules to this nonsense?
The rules are pretty, like, not to bring up the Death Note again, but we are going to anyway. Yeah. Death Note is easy peasy. You write the name in the book, done and dusted.
They take their time. You get enough for each time and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is like, I mean, you're starting to talk. Why can't it just be, the rule is, I can only access things that would be available on the internet. That's all you need to do. Simple. I mean, I guess that it's more than that, because he can find freaking change and things. I don't know.
But like the buddies that already have faces on it, it's such an odd. I still don't understand.
It has to be a property of somebody, but that has to be a visual thing, like somebody's dollar bill. You don't own it necessarily. So,
but if it's connected to you, then you get it. Fine. I
guess he should start writing his name on everything, right? Well, he goes and he writes a marker. He writes on the forehead of some kid in class his name. Yeah, now I could get it. But when he goes through this and he's trying to figure this out, the way, again, where you have, I hate to do it, but in Death Note, Light, he ends up playing the system. He ends up actually figuring out things because he's so smart. He figures out ways to exploit the Death Note that were never done. This makes that elevate. You start getting scared of him because he wants to pretty much be a god, and he almost is become. But in this, they're trying to make Q, okay, he's smart, so he'll be able to figure out the steps. The problem is the steps are to find a freaking coin. You don't need that. I don't need to waste time of him. Well, I guess I can't get one coin that's mine because it's not really mine. So, tell me the coins in this area. And then he goes around, starts picking up coins. And I think, what is this going to be? What's he going to pick up? Change?
We have a kidnapped victim.
Gathering nickels.
Hey, he's getting the nickels and quarters to get her something out of the vending machine. Jeez.
And so he does. The work that he has to do to get this 100 yen, it's nonsense.
Not worth the hassle.
What is he talking about? The idea that he says, I know how I can prove this. Now, this thing has already shown his diary. That diary.
That should be proof.
The idea that phone has a scan of his personal diary that that's proof.
The most impressive thing about this chapter is the fact that the letterer had to handwrite that whole note.
Really.
All sus notebook entry, all handwritten.
How can he? What is it now in his mind? He thinks that Yuika must have broken into his room, grabbed his diary, scanned it, put it on a thing, and then waited hoping that he would ask that.
This is some prank. Like, Ashton Kutcher, eat your heart out.
This is Ocean's 11 of pranks.
Where's George Clooney?
Where's the getaway, man? You end up where even he says, they wouldn't know about this. He's still not convinced. Or he wants to get a couple, coins. So he says, I dropped my money at a certain spot.
Only I know where it is.
Why? What is he doing?
Maybe he was just testing
It's like somebody keeping money under a mattress because of the depression. He ends up keeping 100 yen coins in a field.
It's like a rainy day fund in the gutters.
I just sit there, I'm like, what is this kid up to? Then he ends up getting this deal. Oh my God, here's the deal with the coins. Now I'm a cheap guy, so I'm like, all right, here we go. This is the be-all, end-all. He's going to be rich. Hey, where's all the monies? And then it just says the bank. He robs the bank. We're good. But he ends up where he goes off, and he's fishing for coins. He better watch out. Pennywise might get him. He's in the sewers.
Where's the balloon?
This is so ridiculous. And then he goes, this smartphone's awesome. Luckily, he didn't drop it in that.
That would have been awkward.
In that deal. Also, it looks like he put his coin in this grate. What is he doing? What is
like,
it?
Did he go home? Bank? I was like, I'll just set myself up for tomorrow, just in case I find a really nifty phone.
You want me to give you one little thing you could have had here to get you in this guy's corner, Q. Show that he's smart, but unfortunately, he gets bullied a little, right? He gets bullied. So we always have that. And in the manga, that's going to be, a Deku, or, you end up where,
underdog.
Midoriya is getting bullied, so you root for him. So this kid could be getting bullied. He could also be getting his lunch money stolen, so he keeps it here in this awful place, in this grate, but he keeps it there because that's after the bullies would try to shake him down, and then he goes, gets his money, and he could have lunch. There you have a setup, just very simple, and you would have been behind him and realized why he would put money in a grate. No, he's just, it's there. It is here. He already knew it was there. And then he goes, oh my God, this smartphone is awesome. How does this work? What do we do? Who owns it? 403 forbidden. The kid doesn't know what that means. Everybody knows it. Then he says, oh my God, that information you can't have, but here's some rules. And then you get these super smartphone rules of you can search for any information intentionally made by humanity as well as its location. However, it's limited to things that exist on Earth. Oh, I can't go to Dream World? Oh my goodness. What, I can't search heaven? I can't search Jupiter? Jesus Christ. And even then, you might be able to search stuff out on the internet of just, but that communicate with the world, can anonymously communicate with any communications device. That is only there to set up the first bit where he calls the police later. But what is he going to do now? Prank calls? What is he, the Jerky Boys now? He's going to be, he's like, this is awesome. Well, with that, guess what? I can go on my cell phone right now and I could kind of communicate with people anonymously, whether I have burner accounts on a thing or I can just press whatever the star, I'm a private number. You know what happens then? Nobody answers. Nobody's answering him. If he's anonymous, I'm never answering an anonymous call.
Unregistered number?
Yeah, it's private. Really? Block. What is he going to do?
Not so super.
This just ends up being there so he can call the police when I don't know why he needs to be anonymous, but he ends up and he's thinking about this. Anybody reading this at this point has to be like, just search for your brother. Damn it. Just do it. We know you're going to do it. Do it now. So he ends up where he gets points for searching highly classified government things. Search location. He did that. So he's getting points. We don't know what those are. Later, it seems like you got to gather them to unlock different levels of susness.
Do you think the more sus to search, the higher the points?
Damn right. He's
I'm
like, hey.
This.
With that, it's anonymous. So he's like, I don't even have to go in incognito mode.
Oh, my
Pornhub,
goodness.
Here we come.
I'm finding my brother today.
It's like,
let's
I'm
go.
not finding nothing. He's like, yeah, now we know why he's so tired.
Oh, jeez.
So what happens is this girl goes missing. This 4-year-old girl goes missing. We're going to go through this quick now. I think we're making this too much fun for ourselves. No. But he ends up where this girl goes missing. His mom's upset because it is like his brother, and this would be something that is, I should have feelings for this. I don't, because I'm still laughing at nonsense. So he ends up where he's like, I bet you, I'd love to. It's like, I bet Superphone could do this. It's like so goofy.
But like
this
Superphone,
is a job for Superphone.
Superphone does this in about 20 steps, when really you could do it in about 3 if you were that smart.
Yeah, because he ends up, and that's the thing. He's like, he can't search for the girl because she's not owned by somebody, but she is kind of man-made. I mean, if I'm going to talk to the phone, I'm going to say,
technically,
I'm going to go technical here and small print. She is man-made. Her mom and dad made her.
Birds and the bees.
So there's that. Where is she? No, you can't do that. Hey, where are the clothes? Like, she was in this picture. Luckily, 2 seconds before she got kidnapped, they took a picture of her. Hey, look at that. Oh, I cannot recognize that coat. Okay, well, whatever coats it got, it goes down the line. Hey, can you give me the amount of cars that were there of people that don't have kids? There's 18. All right, and then let's go this. Okay, probably took the clothes off. There's so many things in this. I'm thinking to myself, she's probably dead. I hate to say it, but I'm like, oh, well, let's go back to the Pornhub.
We're looking at clothes shops, and it's gone.
If you want to do and search people who have bought baby and girl, no, Pornhub. But he ends up where he figures this out. He ends up. Now, with that, you don't get anything except for he's right.
Bad luck if you just happen to be out shopping for kids' clothes. You're getting the SWAT team after you then. Jeez.
Just say it's me. And my kids have their own children. And I buy their, one of my granddaughters now. I'd be in trouble because it's all this. Well, he's right. But you never have any tension to this. You see he's right. This girl's there. I don't know what's up with this dude. He seems to just want to have a family.
Bit odd.
It doesn't even, I know it's sus. He kidnapped a girl, but it didn't, you could get real creepy with this to really up the tension, but they don't seem to want to do that.
No.
And so it's just this girl, I want to go, hey, what do you want? I want to go home. You can't have that, but you better get used to this new home, and I'll get you some of the foods. In the meantime, you have Q using the anonymous function. He calls the police.
SEAL Team 8 show up outside. Let's get this guy.
They usually have an anonymous line you can call. You don't need, and I still want to, it's not super smart. It's sus smartphone it is. Or yes. Super sus phone, we'll call
super
it.
Sus phone.
Super sus phone ends up being there. They call it in. SEAL Team 6 shows up. I swear to God, they're at the compound. They're looking for Osama bin Laden here, but they end up going. I mean, there's like 80 guys here. And then what they do then off panel is go to the guy's neighbor. I don't know why you have to do this much. I know that you want to get the guy out of the deal, whatever, but the neighbor's like, hey there. Yeah, Charlie, you in there? Yeah, what do you want? And then you know for a fact that this guy got the crap kicked out of him.
He's done. They got nightsticks ready.
They have riot gear on to get this guy, and they just attack.
This guy's not going to see next week. Jeez.
No, the only thing he's seeing is a baton right in his face. Well, they saved the girl. The girl gets to go home. She ends up calling her mom. Mommy, it's me. I'm okay. Don't cry, Mommy.
She calls on a regular phone, not a sus phone.
Not the super sus phone. And with that, the girl all of a sudden becomes like the most mature kidnapped girl. She's like, it's me, Mommy. Reiko. I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't cry, Mommy. No. This girl would be like, I want to see my mom. Ah. And then he ends up, Q's like, all right. I love where he stretches like, another job well done for Sus Phone.
Mission accomplished.
Sus Phone says, why did you go and watch? Like, hey, Sus Phone, keep to yourself. I didn't ask you a question. I'd be really mean to Sus Phone. And so he's like, oh, I guess I was worried about the girl. Okay. Like, what did we get there?
That's
I was worried about the girl. Oh, really? How about this? I was hoping that I was right. And I wanted to see just as a little bit more of an affirmation that this is, super sus phone and it does work. I wanted to make sure it was okay. No, he just says, I wanted to make sure. Oh, okay. Is that supposed to be that he's a good guy? Obviously, though, everybody's thinking about his brother. And can he find his brother, his friend? Then Yuika, the next day they're walking to school. He says, well, I'm going to catch you later. School time means I go to the park and sleep. Also might just, I don't know, scatter change around. Maybe I play this game.
This is what I play, scatter the pennies.
It's like an Easter egg hunt with for the bums. They all come and they follow me. It's like I'm feeding the pigeons. I don't know, but do you have change? So he goes off and he's sitting in the park and he's, discussing things. And even before that, it was brought up. Yuika's about to say, hey, you should look for Shu. He realizes she's going to say that, says it, and says, no, he's dead. There's no clues. Then he starts asking, would there be clues from that far away? Can I ask? And he ends up saying, and again, this is the weird thing. He says, I want to find my brother. He says his brother's name, Shu Sugurata. But they already said that you couldn't do that earlier with the girl. The little girl who was kidnapped, he tried with her name at first and said you can't do that. So what gives? This is where I think that this is not going. And again, different name. I mean, are you being that literal? Are you doing this? And he's like, that can't be. My brother, are we going to fight? Like, the weird thing is, with the friend,
you
Yuika.
Never had a brother.
That's what I'm saying. Yuika saying the name of the brother and stuff like that, I actually thought that this could come down to the fact that the brother actually disappeared and nobody knows him and he has to prove that But no, you've had people mention, like Yuika mentioned, maybe she's the ghost friend.
Whoa.
So he ends up trying to figure out how he could find his brother, and then the phone says, you must come up with more points.
Get a high score on the sus phone, and you can find your dead brother.
Oh, right. Pornhub.com. He just keeps going. 10 more points. Good job, Q. Even that, when he said, like, I don't know, just his nickname, the whole idea of this.
It's because he's a smart guy.
Well, again, it's Q, but that's like James Bond, the tech person.
Oh, he does the phones.
Everything is like the generic version of something else. So he does end up, all right, I guess I got to get these points. You don't really know how to get the points. You just have to unlock things and get points by searching things and going around. And then he starts talking, but you never even get, like, you wanted a connection of the sus phone having some personality. It's like a robot friend or whatever.
A tiny little hint right at the very end. Oh, it seems like you showed the emotion sometimes.
No,
Kimmy.
I didn't.
It gives it a phone. It gives
That's
it a name.
Negative.
That's a beep boop, not correct. Oh, really?
I don't know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity here to get some character work, personality, get something to get behind. Even if it is like the idea where all of a sudden his friend looks and like, hey, what's that phone? And he starts getting really like, don't you get near my phone.
What if he's like, look at my super sus phone. What phone? Dun dun.
Look at what I searched out. Look at this. What do you mean? That's just a cookie. Oh no, he looks at the cookie. Oh Whoa. No, mind blown.
Super sus cookie.
You end up having this whole thing set up, right? And this is where I think the generic version, and it just comes, it punches me in the face.
Oh.
He ends up through all this, right? You get this deal. Okay, goo. Phone. I need a name. First off, no, you don't. You're a phone. But he says, I need a name. Oh, I got a name for you. Kimmy. Oh, what's this? Is this somebody he likes or whatnot? Well, why did you call me that? Well, you're supposed to be super smartphone. That's you in Japanese, and I keep saying you. You find me this. That's how, like, you can't even have him name the phone after his brother.
Like, there is not, that would be a shred of personality that this does not have.
Yeah, and have this where you go, and even if this was a weird play, because remember earlier where his brother, I got an acorn. No, that's a pine cone, you stupid kid. But he was always willing to give that information to his brother, and they said his brother loved getting the information, didn't know what it was about. Maybe there'd be a deal where this phone, like, it has some limit, and all of a sudden he ends up having to, like, the way that this works, he has to fill the phone with some info and tell it that. Then it would be like his brother. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something. But this is where I go when we read some certain things and the behind the scenes. Like, well, it's one thing to have that. What's the editor thinking? Where they're like, oh, man, I mean,
we got a hit.
How hard it is to get into Jump and, get in a weekly Shonen Jump and things like that. And this is it. And again, I'm never going to be, and I swear, me and you don't go the route of that got canceled because of this, or this isn't because of that, or whatnot. What I do is like, well, who gave this the green light?
All I'm saying is
they must know something else is coming up.
There must be some fried gold. Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 better slap so hard we go to the moon.
There's two things that can happen here. There's got to be solid gold bangers coming up, or somehow these creators, they have their own sus phone with naked pictures of the editor, and they force them in. That's all I can say, because there's weird stuff here. This is not that good. It's generic. It's fully generic. Oh, it is fun to talk about sus phone.
This feels like something that should be on the manga. Like, this feels like what we would read.
Stop there. I thought you were like giving it praise. This is something.
No, this feels like something that we would read on Manga Plus. And I hate to say it, but like Manga Plus, a lot of people consider that the secondary. This feels like something that shouldn't be in. This is the heavy hitters. Manga Plus, that's the minor leagues. But I mean, you look at Dan to Dan, it's hitting hard. This feels like on the big hitters, this is nuts.
I'll go one more. I think that this feels like something where I accidentally searched online and found, I think I'm going for this, and I found some just fan fiction nonsense.
This is the Transmorphers.
The art is good.
The art's very good.
That's the thing. The art belongs in Jump. It's very good. Even with the idea, it's talking heads, but that means that they have to even give you more. But without, and that's the only emotions you get is in the art, but barely that, because I think they're playing it. This kid is supposed to just be nice, but he isn't, but he is. And he's just generic. He just is just nothing. The friend Yuika, you get nothing with her. She's just there to move along a narration device to go back in the thing. Shu, you feel bad, but the kid, he should have went in the sus bathroom. Then you get where you could have, I mean, really, without even joking, the most personality you get is from a phone that says that it has no personality, that it can't. I mean, that is the most. Beep. Aliens, Dwight D. Eisenhower had lunch with a alien. Oh my goodness.
Like, I was going somewhere, and then sus diary, and then we went into the petty hunt.
For the last deal, and we'll end it then. For the last deal, like, besides trying to find his brother, what is neat about this phone? I mean, I'm saying go back to Death Note. I'm not saying Death Note's neat like you're like, I wish I had that to kill people, but you kind of maybe want it sometimes. So, but with this,
why do we want the super sus phone?
Why would you want super sus phone? What would this do? You could, like reasons. I said, I'm going to be a prankster. I'm going to call people. I'm going to have, hey, your refrigerator running? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, yeah, you're an a-hole. There's my joke. It's not a great joke, but I'd laugh. And so what else? You want to find your coins? You want to go around with coins?
We got the phone for you.
Right? I mean, here's the deal. You either get sus phone or you get a metal detector. I mean, both are lame.
Super metal detector.
Are you going to ask for the combination of the safe in the bank? You're going to get arrested.
I want to read all your Richard diaries.
Can't do this. Are you then going to say, like, I want to read other people's diaries? I mean, that might be fun for a little. It's not going to be that great.
Could be
what can you do here? There's nothing that I see in this it doesn't time travel. It doesn't mind read. It can't produce anything to you. If this was like, I won $1 million, boom, now we're talking.
They got super money phone.
It's a cell phone that just has a little bit of a better search function than just everybody listening cell phone. That's it. And I don't know.
Not very exciting.
Like, does he want to be a detective? Is he going to be like I don't know, Sherlock Homeboy? I don't know what he wants to be. Like, none of this.
All the great detectives had their start hiding pennies.
Yeah, and the weird thing about it is, and this is me being a jerk, but this has to involve either being rich or famous, and you get neither in this in my mind. Like, what is he going to be? Like a guy who I can read minds? He's going to work in Vegas? Like, oh, you wrote your. It all comes back to the diary.
All the interesting things about like what the phone is, how he got it, why it's in his bag. We don't get a shred of intel on any of that.
No, it's just bad. What would you give it?
I'm going flat 7.
Yeah, you're a nice guy. Is what you are. I'm gonna access the Super Sus phone. Hey, Super Sus phone.
Beep boop boop.
What should I give this? Beep boop boop. 5.5. All right, you're a little higher than I would sus phone, but I'll go. Yeah, that's carrying it to the 5.5.
Big time.
That's all it is.
That color page, that's more interesting than the whole book. That's what I'm writing on.
You know what's carrying it? Your nonsense that you'll read anything. That's what's carrying. No, what carries it is that me and you both will give something like this 3 chapters. They have 2 more chapters.
3 chapters.
They're already behind the 8 ball here. They're going to have to make up. You're going to have to, this is not MC Scat Cat here. You're going to have to go 5 steps forward and none back, because I need you to make up for this, because I just wasted my time. And I got to go to a Mother's Day dinner as I speak. My phone,
goodness.
And my sus phone is blowing up, as they say. But with that, not great. But everybody, I hope that you enjoyed our nonsense talk. I had fun talking about it. I actually did not think, number one, we'd get this much out of it.
No.
But I had a lot of fun. I was laughing through that. I'm also tired. I didn't go to bed last night.
We weren't laughing with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't go to sleep last night, so I'm a little goofy, sus phone. But with all that, real quick, before I get in trouble, go over to Twitter at Weird Manga. Follow us, we'll follow you back. Then go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Weird Science Manga, where you can help support us for all these goofy things that we do, including getting the early access to the Manga Monday show. Not everything's hot off the presses. There's some 10 shows just in the wings waiting.
Baggers.
Also, all of our reading club podcasts, we have early access. And just to throw it out there, and I'll put it in the show notes, I'll talk about it more later, but I actually did start our own YouTube page so we can have reviews, and maybe we'll even do a couple other extra videos and things, and that's just that weird science manga and anime. It's easy. It's just almost like what the podcast is. So, check that out as well, and it'd be great to subscribe to that. And also, if you want, you can rate, subscribe, and review this podcast and all the things that we do.
Phone.
We did get one more. I mean,
every little helps.
Happy days are here again. I ended up, oh my God, we got it. But if you can rate and review and stuff, that always gets us inspired and helps out the podcast. So with that, everybody, thanks for listening. Thank you for joining me, Luke Hollywood, and we'll talk to you all next Monday.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Weird science
is the revolution.
Weird science
is the revolution.